ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸನ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಬ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಕಲಿಕೆಗೊಂದು ವೇದಿಕೆ. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸುನಿಲ್ ಎಸ್, ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್, ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್, ದೇವನಹಳ್ಳಿ. ನನ್ನ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗದೇ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ತಕ್ಷಣವೇ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ. ಸೊ ನಾನಿವತ್ತು ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ Introduction to Cost Accounting Series 1, that is Unit number 1 as per BNU, BU and ಹಾಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಸೊ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ 1ನ ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕವರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಥಿಯರಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂಗ್. My dear students, as you know already the accounting meaning. So accounting refers to is the art of recording, classifying, summarizing, analyzing, interpreting and reporting of financial data during the financial year. It means accounting serves the purpose of providing financial information relating to activities of a business. Such information is provided to shareholders, managers, creditors, debenture holders, bankers, tax authorities and others. Broadly speaking, on the basis of type of accounting information and the purpose for which such information is used, accounting may be divided into three categories. So financial accounting, cost accounting, management accounting. Then financial accounting means is mainly concerned with recording business transactions in the books of accounts, and we are going to prepare, that is income statement showing that a net profit or a loss during the year, and the balance sheet showing the financial position of the company at a point of time. So what about cost accounting? So cost accounting is a branch of accounting which specializes in the ascertainment of cost of products and services. It is for use by management. Then what about management accounting? So it is a modern concept of accounts as a tool of management. It is concerned with all such accounting information that is useful to management. Cost accounting as primarily developed to meet the needs of management. The profit and loss account and balance sheet are presented to management by the financial accountant. But a modern management needs much more detailed information than supplied by these financial statements. Cost accounting provides a detailed cost information to various levels of management for efficient performance of their functions. The information supplied by cost accounting acts as a tool of management for making optimum use of scarce resources and ultimately added to the profitability of a business. It means, what do you mean by cost? The cost is the amount of expenditure incurred or attributable to a given thing. So my dear students, so if you visit a shop, you will purchase some books or a pen and you incur some amount for getting a pen or a book. That expenditure will be considered as cost. Then costing. So according to the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, that is CMA of UK, has defined costing as the techniques and process of ascertaining cost. It means a costing simply means that cost finding by any process or technique. It consists of principles and rules which are used for determining. So for example, the cost of manufacturing a product, that is motor car, that is cost of furniture, there is cost of chemical, cost of steel, cost of paper, etc. And the cost of providing services like the cost of electricity, cost of transport, a cost of education, etc. Next, cost accounting. So according to Erich Kohler, a cost accounting is a branch of accounting dealing with the classification, recording, allocation, summarization and reporting of current and prospective costs. It means it embraces the preparation of statistical data the application of cost control methods and ascertainment of profitability of activities carried out or planned. So now the next, cost accountancy. According to CMA of UK has defined a cost accountancy as the application of costing and cost accounting principles, methods and techniques to the science, art and practice of cost control and the ascertainment of profitability. It includes the presentation of information derived therefrom for the purpose of decision making. It means a cost accounting is a very wide term. It means and includes the principles, conventions, techniques and systems which were employed in a business to plan and control the utilization of its resources. The cost accountancy is a wide term and includes costing, cost accounting, cost control and cost audit. Objectives and functions of cost accounting. The first one, ascertainment of cost. This is the primary objective of cost accounting. The basic objective of cost accounting is to ascertain the cost of products and services. For cost ascertainment, different techniques and systems of costing are used in different industries. So, control and reduction of cost. Cost accounting aims at improving efficiency by controlling and reducing cost. So, this objective is becoming increasingly important because of growing competitions. Next, guide to business policy. So, cost accounting aims at serving the needs of management in conducting the business with utmost efficiency. Cost data provide guidelines for various managerial decisions like make or buy decisions, selling below cost, utilization of idle plant capacity, introduction of new product, etc. Determination of a selling price. The cost accounting provides cost information on the basis of which selling prices of products or services may be fixed. In a period of depression, the cost accounting guides in deciding the extent to which the selling prices may be reduced to meet the situation. For example, the present lockdown situation, ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the selling price ಅನ್ನು reduce ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ because of this economic fluctuations. So next, measuring and improving performance. The cost accounting measures efficiency by classifying and analyzing cost data and then suggest various steps in improving performance so that profitability is increased. In order to realize these objectives, my dear students, the data provided by cost accounting may have to be reclassified, reorganized and supplemented by other relevant business data from outside the formal cost accounting system. Differences between the financial and cost accounting. So, financial accounting and cost accounting. Under financial accounting, the main purpose of financial accounting is recording business transactions, ascertainment of profitability and financial position. But in case of cost accounting, the main purpose of cost accounting is accounting for cost for enabling cost control and cost reduction. So next, the financial accounting is subjective since the recording is based on the policies. But in case of cost accounting is an objective basis, since the recording is based on the facts. So financial accounting mainly caters to the requirements of external stakeholders of the business enterprises. But in case of cost accounting is mainly for the use of management for decision making purposes. The financial statements are prepared in periodic intervals, generally once in a year. Hence the information is not contemporary. But in case of cost, reports are prepared on a continuous basis. Hence the information is contemporary in nature. Next, the financial accounting. Under financial accounting, the analysis based on the financial statements is post-mortem and might not be useful for all managerial decisions. But in case of cost accounting, the analysis based on cost information are concurrent
and facilitates most decisions of the management. Financial accounting is mandatory for most business enterprises, but cost accounting is voluntary in most cases, other than cases where cost accounting is important. Installation of cost accounting system. A formal system of cost accounting is necessary to ascertain and control cost. There is no ready-made cost accounting system to suit every firm. Therefore, it is necessary to design a special costing system to meet all requirements of the firm. Therefore, the installation of costing system requires a careful consideration of all aspects concerned to it. Otherwise, the system may be a misfit and firm may not be able to derive full benefits from it. Then what are the steps in installation of effective costing system? The first one, the assessment of a necessity and benefits of a costing system. The cost accountant is required to assess whether there is need for costing system and benefits from it are satisfactory. So, this is necessary to take a right decisions as to install or not to install the system. And next step, conducting a preliminary investigation. So, the preliminary investigation and technical aspects like type of industry, nature of product, methods of production, etc. will help of the cost accountant to decide type of costing system to be installed. The next step, the determination of objectives of costing system. My dear students, every management intends to achieve certain objectives by installing costing system. Therefore, it is necessary to determine the objectives of costing system, keeping in view the objectives that the management intends to achieve. So, next step, studying the existing organizational structure. My dear students, the existing organizational structure is to be studied to find out the scope of authority and responsibility of each executive. So, necessary cost centers and departments may be established to facilitate cost ascertainment and analysis. However, efforts should be made to disturb the existing organizational structure as little as possible. The next, recruitment of adequate staff. So, qualified staff should be recruited to perform the functions of cost accounting. The proper training may be imparted to such staff if need be. So, next, designing of forms and accounting records. So, necessary forms, statements and accounting records like cost sheet, stores ledger, material requisition, etc. should be so designed to involve a minimum clerical work and minimum cost. And the last, that is installation of the system. So, after completion of above formalities, the entire costing system cannot be installed at a stretch. It should be installed gradually, step by step. The existing accounting routine and practices should be utilized unless there are good grounds to supersede them. We will go to next concept. Advantages of cost accounting. We will take the first advantage to management. Reveals a profitable and unprofitable activities. My dear students, a system of cost accounting reveals profitable and unprofitable activities, and this information management may take steps to reduce or eliminate wastages and inefficiencies occurring in any form such as idle time, underutilization of plant capacity, a spoilage of materials, etc. The next advantages to management helps in cost control. The cost accounting helps in controlling costs with special techniques like standard costing and budgetary control. Next, helps in decision making. It supplies suitable cost data and other related information for managerial decision making, such as introduction of a new product line, determining export price of products, make or buy a component, etc. So, next the guides in fixing selling price. The cost is one of the most important factors, my dear students, to be considered while fixing prices. A system of cost accounting guides the management in the fixation of selling prices, particularly during depression period when prices may have to be fixed below cost. Helps in inventory control. So, perpetual inventory system, which is an integral part of cost accounting, helps in the preparation of interim profit and loss account. Other inventory control techniques like ABC analysis, level setting, etc. are also used in cost accounting to control the inventories. Next, aids in formulating policies. My dear students, costing provides such information as enables the management to formulate production and pricing policies and preparing estimates of contracts and tenders. Next, helps in cost reduction. It helps in the introduction of cost reduction program and finding out a new and improved ways to reduce cost. And next, reveals idle capacity. My dear students, a concern may not be working to a full capacity due to reasons such as shortage of demand, machine breakdown, or other bottlenecks in the production. A cost accounting system can easily work out the cost of idle capacity so that a management may take immediate steps to improve the position. Next, checks the accuracy of financial accounts. Cost accounting provides a reliable check on the accuracy of financial accounts with the help of reconciliation between the two at the end of the accounting period. Prevents frauds and manipulation. Cost audit system, which is a part of cost accountancy, helps in preventing manipulation and frauds, and thus reliable cost data can be furnished to management and others. So, these are the advantages to management. Let us go to advantages to workers. What are the advantages to workers? The workers are benefited by introduction of incentive plans, that is like a wage payment, which is an integral part of cost system. So, this results not only in higher productivity but also higher earnings for workers. Next, advantages to society. How it helps? An efficient cost system is bound to lower the cost of production. The benefits of cost reduction and cost control accrue to the public at large in the form of lower prices of products and services. And advantages to government agencies and others. A cost system produces ready figures for use by government, wage tribunals, trade unions, etc. for use in problems like price fixing, wage level fixation, settlement of industry disputes, etc. Then, what are the limitations? Despite the fact that development of cost accounting is one of the most significant steps to improve performance, certain objections are raised against its introduction. There are as follows. The first one, it is unnecessary. So, cost accounting is argued that the maintenance of cost records is not necessary and involves a duplication of work. It is based on the premise that a good number of concerns are functioning prosperously without any system of costing. This may be true, but in the present world of competition, to conduct a business with utmost efficiency, the management needs to know detailed cost information for its decision making. Only a cost accounting system can serve this need of the management and thus help in the more efficient conduct of a business. Next, it is expensive. It is pointed out that installation of costing system is quite expensive, which is only large concerns can afford. It is also argued that installation of the system will involve additional expenditure which will lead to a diminution of profits. It is inapplicable. So, another argument sometimes put forward is that modern methods of costing are not applicable to many types of industries. This plea is not very apt. The fault lies in an attempt to introduce a ready-made costing system in a firm, and it is a failure. The failure of costing system in some concerns is quoted an argument against its introduction in other undertakings. This is a very fallacious argument. If a system does not produce the desired result, it is wrong to jump to the conclusion that the system is at fault. Next, cost unit. The cost unit refers to unit of production, service or time or combination of these, in relation to which cost may be ascertained or expressed. It differs from business to business. Example: cost per kg, cost per labor hour, cost per seat. Any other examples, like in case of industries, the cement industry, the ton of cement. In case of chemical industries, ton, kilogram, liter, gallon, etc. In case of bricks industries, 1000 bricks for 500 bricks. So, in case of soft drink industries, a crate of 24 bottles or 12 bottles. In case of nursing home, bed per day. In case of floor, the ton of floor. Like that is what this cost unit. The cost center. The cost center is defined as a location, a person, an item of equipment, or a group of these, for which cost may be ascertained and used for the purpose of cost control. The primary responsibility of a cost center is cost control and cost reduction. So, the cost centers are primarily of two types. So, one is a personal cost center, which consists of person or a group of persons. So, in second one is impersonal cost centers, which consists of location or an item of equipment or a group of these. The next concept, that is classification of cost. So, classification of cost by identifiability, by controllability, by behavior. By identifiability, one is a direct cost and indirect cost. So, direct cost, these are those costs which are incurred for and conveniently identified with a particular cost unit or process or department. For example, cost of raw materials used and wages for machine operator are common examples for direct cost. In case of indirect cost, so these are general costs and are incurred for a benefit of number of cost units or processes or departments. So, and these costs cannot be conveniently identified with a particular cost unit or cost center. For example, depreciation of machinery, insurance, lighting, power, rent, manager salaries, etc. So, next, by controllability, the controllable cost and non-controllable cost. So, controllable costs are the costs which may be directly regulated at a given level of management authority. So, variable costs are generally controllable by department heads. For example, cost of raw material may be controlled by purchasing in larger quantities. Then non-controllable cost. So, these are those costs which cannot be influenced by the action of a specified member of an enterprise. For example, it is very difficult to control costs like factory rent, managerial salaries, etc. By behavior, fixed cost, variable cost and semi-variable cost. The fixed cost, these costs remain constant in a total amount over a wide range of activity for a specific period of time. These do not increase or decrease when the volume of production changes. For example, building rent, manager salaries remain constant and do not change with a change in output level, thus are fixed cost. but fixed cost per unit decreases when a volume of production increases and vice versa. So, for example, rent and lease, manager's salaries, building insurance, salaries and wages of permanent staff, and municipal taxes, etc. Next, a variable cost. So, these costs tend to vary in a direct proportion to the volume of output. In other words, when volume of output increases, the total variable cost also increases and vice versa. When volume of output decreases, the total variable cost also decreases, but the variable cost per unit remains fixed. And next, a semi-variable cost. And these costs include both a fixed and variable component. These are partly fixed and partly variable. A semi-variable cost has often a fixed element below which it will not fall at any level of output. The variable element in semi-variable cost changes either at a constant rate or in a lumps. For example, introduction of an additional shift in the factory will require additional supervisors, and certain cost will increase by jumps. In the case of telephone, there is a minimum rent, and after specified number of calls, the charges are according to the number of calls made. Thus, there is no fixed pattern behavior of semi-variable cost. And these classification cost can be classified into again an historical cost and predetermined cost. So, historical cost, these are past costs which are ascertained after these have been incurred, but predetermined cost, these are future costs which are ascertained in advance of production on the basis of a specification of all the factors affecting cost. And another classification, that is into normal cost as well as abnormal cost. Normal cost may be defined as cost which is normally incurred on expected lines at a given level of output, and this is a part of cost of production. But abnormal cost is that which is not normally incurred at a given level of output. The such cost is over and above the normal cost, and it is not treated as a part of the cost of production. Next, elements of cost. One is a material cost, labor cost, and expenses. So, material cost means the cost of commodities supplied to an undertaking. The materials may be direct materials or indirect materials. Then labor, the cost of remuneration like wages, salaries, commissions, bonuses of the employees of an undertaking. And expenses, the all costs other than the material and labor are termed as expenses. It means the cost of services provided to an undertaking and the notional cost of the use of owned assets. And material cost can be classified again into direct material cost and indirect material cost. So, direct material cost is that which can be conveniently identified with the and allocated in cost units, but direct material generally become a part of the finished product. For example, cotton used in textile mill is a direct material. However, in many cases, though a material forms a part of the finished product, yet it is not treated as a direct material. Example, nails used in the furniture, thread used in stitching garments, etc. And next, indirect material. So, these are those materials which cannot be conveniently identified with individual cost units. These are minor in importance, such as small and relatively inexpensive items which may become a part of the finished product. Okay, next, like for example, indirect materials, lubricating oil, sandpaper, nuts and bolts, coal, small tools, office stationery. In case of direct labor, direct labor cost consists of wages paid to workers directly engaged in converting raw materials into finished products. For example, machine operator, shoemaker, carpenter, weaver, tailor. What about indirect labor? So, it is of general character and cannot be conveniently identified with a particular cost unit. In other words, the indirect labor is not directly engaged in the production operations, but only to assist or help in production operations. For example, supervisors, inspectors, cleaners, clerk, peon, watchman, etc. Next, direct expenses. Direct expenses are those expenses which can be identified with and allocated to cost centers or units. For example, hire of special plant for a particular job, the cost of royalty paid in mining, a depreciation or a hire of plant used on a contract at site. Next, indirect expenses. All indirect costs other than indirect materials and indirect labor cost are termed as indirect expenses, and these cannot be conveniently identified with a particular job, process or work, and are common to cost units or cost centers. For example, rent rates, depreciation, lighting and power charges, advertising charges, insurance, repairs, etc. My dear students, an aggregate of a direct material cost, direct labor cost and direct expenses cost will be considered as and will be called as prime cost or first cost. The aggregate of indirect material cost, indirect labor cost and indirect expenses cost will be considered as overheads. The overheads means is indirect cost.